Hi, this is Lisa Somerville for Divinity Designs. Thank you for joining us for our Marvelous Men's Party. In this video, I will be sharing with you the following die sets: pegboard and hooks, workshop tools, and tool time. These 3 die sets can be used together, or you can use them along with additional Divinity Designs, stamps, paper pads, and custom dies. Let's take a closer look at these die sets. The pegboard and hooks die set is a set of 3 dies. The pegboard measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. You have the pegboard and 3 different hooks. You simply slide the top and bottom ends of the hooks into the pegboard, and then you can add your die cut embossed tools. The tool time die set is a set of 4 dies. You'll die cut and emboss these dies following the directions for your die cutting machine. Embossing the dies will bring out the detail of the dies. The workshop tools die set is a set of 9 dies. Again, for best results, emboss these dies. Anytime you see 2 shades of purple on the packaging or the web images, that does indicate that you should emboss your dies for best results. I've gone ahead and die cut and embossed these dies a second time from colored cardstock. That way I can snip away the extra of the die cut and add the colored handles to the die cut pieces and then use as embellishments on my cards. On some of the tools, you can also add stenciling to the open areas. To add stenciling, simply leave the die cut and embossed piece within the die. Then use ink in an ink blending brush to go over the open areas of the die. Then remove the die from the cardstock and clean the die before storing it for its next use. You can die cut the pegboard and hooks and use on your projects, just like I have it here, or you can die cut a frame and a backing for the pegboard. To create the frame for the pegboard, I use the pierced squares and the squares die set. Simply align the smaller die within the larger die, add removable tape to hold that die in place, then die cut and emboss following the directions for your die cutting machine. By adding the square die to the center of the pierced squares and then die cutting and embossing, it's going to give me the frame panel that you see here. I then used another one of our square dies to create a backing for the pegboard. Then you can adhere the pegboard die cut panel to the backing and then add a frame around the pegboard. You'll want to make sure that if you're going to add a frame and backing to the pegboard, that you only add adhesive around the outer edge of the die cut panel. That way you can still easily adhere the die cut hooks and the die cut and emboss tools. Now let's create a few projects using these die sets. Both of the cards that I'm sharing with you use papers from the Weathered Wood paper pad collection. This 6x6 paper pad features 36 designer papers, 3 sheets of each design. This first card starts out with the A2 portrait card base with layer die set, along with the matting rectangle. The card base was die cut and embossed from white cardstock, the matting rectangle from brown cardstock, and the layering panel from the A2 portrait card base with layer die set from a piece of pattern paper from the Weathered Wood paper pad collection. I'll be using the pegboard and the frame pieces that I created earlier in the video, along with the die cut and embossed tools. The sentiment is from the World's Greatest Stamp Set, stamped in brown ink on white cardstock, then die cut using the Sentiment Strips 2 die set. The brown layer was also die cut and embossed from this die set. Die cut and emboss your tools from 2 different pieces of cardstock. That way you can add the colored handles to the tools. I used Barely Art glue to add the colored cardstock to the silver die cut and embossed pieces. Adhere the pattern paper panel to the matting rectangle panel and then to your base card. To add the pegboard panel to my square die cut panel, I'm simply going to adhere score tape to the back side of the pegboard, and then center that within the square die cut panel. Next, we're going to add the frame piece that we created using the squares and the pierced squares. I'm going to adhere the frame panel using score tape. Then adhere the frame panel in place. Now you're all set to add your die cut and embossed tools. When adding the die cut and embossed tools to the pegboard, I did add glue on the back side so that the tools don't shift. Then add dimensionals to the back side of this panel, remove the adhesive, and add to your card base. Adhere the stamp sentiment panel to the layering panel, add dimensionals to the back, remove the adhesive, and then adhere to your card base. Then you can further embellish your card using some of the nails, screws, and washers from the Workshop Tools die set. This next card starts out with our A2 landscape card base with layer die set. The card base is cut from white cardstock. The layer is cut from the weathered wood paper pad collection. The brown cardstock was die cut and embossed using the matting rectangle. Again, that matting rectangle adds a pop of color between the layer panel and your base card. This time we have die cut and embossed tools from the Workshop Tools and Tool Time die sets. Again, you'll die cut and emboss these dies from multiple pieces of colored cardstock to get the two-tone look to the tools. The stamp sentiment is Father's Day tools. This sentiment was heat embossed on white cardstock and then die cut using the rectangle die set. Adhere the pattern paper to the matting rectangle and then to the base card. Adhere the stamped panel to the pierced rectangle. Add dimensionals to the back side and then adhere to the card base. Now using Bearly Art Glue, add your tool embellishments to the card. And here's my completed card. For more inspiration using these products, you can visit the product pages on our website. If you have any questions about the products used, you can use the live chat feature on our website to leave us a message.